All right. So you guys talked about participles. I watched most of the video last night. So let's do a little bit of recap, and I have something that I want to share with you guys. Something that I think that you'll find helpful. Do both y'all use Logos?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I thought so. All right. So starting off, I guess let's go back over the what do you call it? I don't even know what you call it. The chart where you have the different parts of the word, the makeup of.
The paradigm?
No, no.
I don't know if there's a word for it. The breaking up of the word.
Yeah.
Like the augmented first aorist tense stem, tense formative, that kind of thing.
Right.
They're in the gray boxes.
Right.
I bet you there's a word for it. I don't know.
So let's spend a minute talking about that, because I think there was, I don't know if there was confusion necessarily, but maybe some things that about it that weren't quite clicking, at least the way they do it in my mind. Like kind of, oh yeah, I get it. So let me see if I can help with that. So the when it says unaugmented first aorist tense stem, can you help me? Can you explain to me, either one of y'all, maybe together, what that exactly means?
So the unaugmented is a lack of an augment, usually an epsilon. Which is kind of, I'd say, normative for an aorist, I would think. My mind serves me right. So that's the unaugmented. The first aorist, Sam? No, I'm joking.
No, it uses a certain type of tense than like the present tense, because it's
right.
So it's unaugmented, but it's an aorist tense stem.
So help me understand the first aorist, second aorist thing.
I want to say this could be wrong, that one of them has a tense formative and lacks a connecting vowel, and one of them has a connecting vowel and lacks a tense formative. But I could be mistaken.
That is true for the participle.
For the participle, okay.
Yeah. So, and when we're talking about aorist verbs, that's not the case.
Well, aorist is going. First aorist and second aorist are going to use two different tense stems. The first aorist, doesn't it use the present tense? And then the second aorist uses. I'm trying to remember that.
Second aorist use the aorist.
No, second aorist uses the present tense.
It uses the aorist active tense stem.
Aorist active tense stem.
And does have an augment, of course.
Well, yeah. So the way these charts have it is unaugmented first aorist tense stem. So the tense stem is aorist.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But what is the difference? What is the difference between first and second? Just in terms of functionality, not translation, but functionality in the word. Like, what is it? What are its characteristics?
I think maybe it is if the second aorist is the augment, the aorist tense stem, and the connecting vowel, and then the first is the augment, aorist tense stem, and the tense formative, and then I think you have the same personal ending at the end. I think I know. It's
First aorist adds a sigma alpha.
Yeah. Yes. In participles, but that's what we're talking about. Maybe Jake, do you have a guess? Because I think that you were.
It has. I want to say there's. Well, if there's a tense formative, does that mean that the end of the stem doesn't? This is real. I don't know if this makes sense. That the end of the stem ends in a consonant, and so it has to have a tense formative, and then the other doesn't. So it needs a connecting vowel.
You may be onto something there, and that's not quite what I was asking. So maybe I'll just kind of do my spiel.
Sure. Yeah.
So what I'm looking for is the difference between first and second is really the nature of the root, or I mean the stem. Sorry, the nature of the stem. So if you have a stem that kind of more or less functions normally, it does the normal thing. It would be like if I said, okay, print, right? I print something out of the printer.
Mm-hmm.
Past tense of that would be printed. That would be kind of the normal way to put it in the past tense.
Mm-hmm.
Print would be like more of a first, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I did a word like drink, what's the past tense of drink?
Drank.
It's drank, right? So that's more like a second. It's
Okay.
where the stem
Oh,
it's like a different stem, but it's the same word.
yeah, to where you're not adding the ending on it. You're just changing the word itself.
Yeah.
From,
So
like
it behaves-
swim to swam.
Yes,
Kinda
so it
thing.
behaves differently, and that's all it's saying. It's not saying like printed versus drank are two different types of past tense. They just have different characteristics in the stem.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. And why is it unaugmented again? Because I know you guys talked about this Tuesday.
I'll have to look. I don't know.
Do you remember what the augment tells us?
That it is a hold up.
It's not.
Secondary. I'm thinking of like the primary and the secondary chart. I don't know if that has to do with it.
No.
The augment tells
Past tense
us,
maybe generally. I don't know.
Yeah. So you're close there. I'm looking for maybe a more specific phrasing.
It refers to something that happened in the past, or aorist is usually undefined.
time.
Time. Okay.
Yeah. The augment relates time.
Okay.
So the lack of the augment, right, indicates to us that when we're talking about participles and there is no augment in the aorist, which does typically in the verb form, in the indicative form, indicative mood, does have an augment. It's not here because participles don't relate time.
Mm.
Do you know what they relate?
I wanted to say. Oh, go ahead, Sam.
No, I was saying I can't remember. I don't know what it relates.
I wanted to say
ahead.
aspect, but I feel like aspect has to do with time.
No, you're right. It's aspect. All aspect is dealing with the type of action, whether it's completed,
Oh, that's right.
perfective or imperfective, essentially, or combinative. Yeah, that's the aspect.
Okay.
It's just the type of action. What it's telling you, whether it's completed, incompleted, or like ongoing or whatever.
Gotcha.
So that's all a participle does for us. in terms of the tense, right? So aorist is perfective, perfect is imperfective, I think, right? Is that right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
And then present, I think, is also imperfective, isn't it? No, perfect is combinative. That's right. Perfect is combinative, meaning that there is a completion, but there's also some imperfective aspect to it.
Some kind of ongoing effects of it.
Yeah, yeah, and that's all really. So when we get to the terms perfective and imperfective, when you do like your logos Bible search, you're not really going to see those terms. You're going to see. Let's see. You're going to see the tense, not the aspect. So aorist. I'm looking at Matthew 28:19. The word for go, poriothentes, and it says verb, aorist, passive participle, and then it gives you plural, nominative, masculine. But it doesn't give you perfective or imperfective or combinative. You have to deduce from the tense which one of those that is.
Gotcha.
And what it's telling you. So aorist would be perfective. So here's where I'm getting with that. Perfective, imperfective. Perfective means just think of like you perfected it, like it's done. The thing that you're describing went all the way to its full end, and that's what the idea of perfect is in the New Testament, right? You have this word telos, which is end or complete or full or perfect. So when a thing has reached its full end, we would call that it's been perfected. And so that's kind of the idea of the aorist perfective aspect, where this thing has been completed, it's done. Well, the opposite of that is true for imperfective. It has not been completed, so there is this ongoing aspect to it. Make sense?
Yeah.
Good.
Yes.
Any questions on that?
No, that makes more sense for sure.
Okay. So what does the tense formative tell us?
It's forming the tense.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just a little blip inserted within a Greek verb. That's different sometimes. And
it tells us if it's active or if it's middle or passive, depending on the tense formative, like the sigma alpha or the lots of sigma alphas with this one. But the middle passive, or the middle uses a different one, the passive uses a different one.
I think the active and the middle use the same. And then you're right. I think the middle and passive have a different one.
Do they use a different tense formative, or is it the tense formative that changes, which tells you whether it's middle or passive or active, or is it something else?
I thought it was the morpheme.
Well, I guess I'm getting that wrong then.
But I don't know if I'm right. I know don't aorists typically have a tense formative, or I know future did at one point because it had a sigma in a lot of future words.
Yeah, so we've gotten out of the indicative mood.
Right.
All the indicative mood is just relaying information. It's indicating something. So now we're out of that, where you have all those kind of normal functions. You have the augment, you have the tense formative, Now we're in something else. And your Bible software will call the participle its own mood, but really and truthfully, it's a different thing entirely. It's not really. I mean, it kind of classifies as a verb because it has a verbal stem and that all that good stuff, but it's really not a verb. It's a participle. It's its own part of speech. So when we start thinking like, okay, well, aorists do this in the present tense and the future tense and stuff, it's like, okay, well, now I'm not really dealing with that anymore. I'm dealing with
Okay.
a whole other thing with its own rules, and there are some that carry over and some that don't. Like in the second aorist, you don't have the tense formative.
Okay.
You have a connecting vowel, and connecting vowels are used for nouns.
So if we have a tense formative and
I'm sorry, that was incorrect. Correct. Connecting vowels are used for. Yeah, I probably should have reviewed that a little bit before I said it. So second aorist in the middle and active uses a connecting vowel instead of a tense formative. So that explains that.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we have a tense formative and it's
It shows a
forming the tense.
yeah. Well, it shows a particular tense of it. With that, I mean, it's with the morpheme or morpheme. I don't know how you say that.
Yeah, answering the question as to why there's a tense formative in there, I have no idea. I'm gonna go ahead and put that out there.
Well, it's because the tense formative helps to form the tense of the word.
Yeah.
And participles do have tense. They just don't necessarily relate time. To us, that sounds weird because like we have present tense, past tense, future tense in English. And it's like, well, all those things tell us time, but that we just have to understand that Greek doesn't necessarily convey time when it conveys tense. There is kind of another piece that conveys time, which is the augment or that sort of thing, or augment or reduplication. Andres,
sorry. No, I was just gonna say that if you see the tense formative, you can know it is first aorist. If you just see the second tense stem, it would be second aorist. It's kind of one of the things that you can use to see the difference between the first and second aorist in adverbs, right?
Yeah, little indicators.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so the participle morpheme, I think, might have been kind of what Sam was referring to earlier about the thing that changes whether it's first or active or middle or passive. And Jake pointed out too that the active and the passive have some commonalities. There are some times where that they share that morpheme, in the middle does something different. I don't think is there a master chart?
On
Yes.
3. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was thinking on 317 it shows active, middle, passive, the breakdown. I didn't know if that was what you're looking for though.
No, that's what I was kind of on. I was looking for 324, where it has the master chart. So on the present participles, present, active, present, middle, passive, the active has its own middle passive shares shares that morpheme. Kind of almost how we would see personal endings in the indicative, right? Where you have the middle passive sharing that form. But then you get into the aorist, and you see that now the active and passive share the morpheme, and the middle has its own. Whether you're talking about first or second aorist, in the aorist, aorist participle, active and passive share that morpheme.
Gotcha.
All right. Yeah, I don't want to belabor the point too much more. I think we've pretty much got that. We know case endings. They tell us the case, nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, and they tell us a little bit more than that as well. Person, I think, number, gender.
Right. I think, looking at the master verb chart, I was talking with Sam the other day, and because chapter 27 was imperfect, and for this one chapter, we've got 6 paradigms, 3 for the first aorist and 3 for the second aorist, and I know that it's going to take a lot of studying and a lot of recall to, figure it all out, going forward.
Mm-hmm.
But at least we got the groundwork, laid. We can try to learn it and grow, because it is a lot. It's a lot to learn. And I know that there's always going to be some Greek words that are nuanced and they might not always follow the rules. Some exceptions, but what I told Sam, or what I remember telling Sam, I was like, man, back in like chapter 7 and 8, it was just nominative and just genitive, and then you get full paradigm, then you get 6 paradigms in a chapter, and it was it's just a very it's a lot.
Yeah, I get that. But instead of looking at, I think that's kind of like I don't know whether it's the big picture or the fine details. Maybe it's the fine details. So I think maybe the big picture is the morpheme. So if you can remember what morpheme goes with what tense and what voice, right? Active, middle, passive, present, aorist, whatever. If you can remember which morpheme goes with which, then you can kind of put the pieces together to see, okay, well, that's what the memory form, because if you look on page 324, that's all the memory forms are telling you with, again, that's the masculine, feminine, neuter kind of format, right?
Mm-hmm.
The 313 and 212. So masculine, feminine, neuter. Masculine is the own on the present active. And I know you guys talked about it. Maybe you don't remember, but what it should be is Omicron, Nu, Tau, Sigma, aunts. But, there are some things that are clashing there that aren't supposed to be. The Sigma on the end, with the T, the Tau, that's one of your square stops that gets absorbed into a Sigma. Mm-hmm. Have Sigma at the end of a word connected to another consonant. So Sigma drops off. And then there's this compensatory lengthening with the Omicron because of all that changing. So, yeah. But that's all because of the morpheme, the Nu Tau. The personal ending is Sigma. That's what it is in the first person.
Hmm.
But
What
there's
I'm-
only changes that occur because of the morpheme.
I just noticed something in looking at the master verb chart for the present middle passive
Uh-huh.
and the second aorist middle. They have the same connecting vowel and the same morpheme, but the only difference is the stem. One's present and one's aorist. I was looking. I was like, "What's the difference between them?" And I was like, "Oh, there's that. That makes sense." But the words they look kind of the same.
Mhm.
Legomenoi and then genomenoi. Two different words there, but the same looking ending. But the stem is different. So that
Mm.
I was looking at it while you're talking. I'm thinking, what in the world? But that was it.
My thought is because there's this ellipsis on the second aorist middle, it says omenos, then ...
Mm-hmm.
Makes me think because there are other boxes that have all 6 of them there, and it kind of makes me wonder if that's like the only form that it'll appear with in the second aorist.
The on above it has ... and there is an on paradigm up there as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it may just copy the omenos paradigm actually. And I guess the only way you can tell is either look it up in the lexicon or sometimes those things even confuse me a little bit because it looks exactly like another thing. And you have the present and the aorist kind of looking the same.
Mm-hmm.
How do you tell which one it is? And my answer is I don't really know.
Yeah, generally it'd be the stem would tell you, but seems like for those words, maybe there isn't an aorist tense stem, or I don't know. I could guess 1,000 things, I guess, but
Yeah, I don't know either. And I will say that the stem sometimes looks the same between tenses. So there's a little bit a layer of confusion there, but I think that if you're translating a verse and you weren't able to tell immediately, like just looking at the word, maybe translate the rest of the context, and perhaps it becomes more clear as you kind of you start to roll things out. But it could be that the legomenoi doesn't have an aorist, like that. It would be something else in the aorist. I don't know. We probably won't need to spend any more time trying to speculate.
Wait. Is it? No, that wouldn't be it. I was wondering if omenos was somehow connected to the word beside it, the legomenoi, or like if it was just omenoi, or if it was a different word altogether. And I looked back in the lexical and I didn't find omenos, so omenos might be, but it is a present, so I don't know. I need to look up that word and figure out what's going on, but we can do that at a later time.
Yeah.
That one's a bit tricky.
I guess I should probably look it up really quick too.
I want to say it's possible I overlooked it. No, it's not there, but it might be. It might not be present, which would be weird. Let's see. Minnows. Is it for minnow? Maybe in the Omicron? I don't know. I don't think so. I'm gonna look it up on Logos, see if there's a word for it.
Okay.
Search in Greek.
So Lego has a second form. Apon. Apon. Eureka is I think that's future. No, Kappa Alpha is Aorist, right? No. Yeah, I'm rusty. I need to freshen up on some of this stuff. But anyway,
that word ominous doesn't appear, at least in the lexical or the lexicon for the New American Standard. It doesn't appear, which I would imagine is the same one for the ESV and all of camp. Ominous.
Okay. So Eureka is perfect. That's right. Kappa Alpha is perfect.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, that looks right.
And then arrow, future. There we go. Sorry, guys. I feel like I need to nail this down real quick.
No, I'm right there with you.
Is that one? Everything.
Let's see. Nas e is omen.
Okay, so
or is no wait. I'm a moron, I think. Yeah, I'm a moron. Okay. These are just memory forms. So it's not necessarily a word, it's just a combination of, I think, the connecting vowel and the morpheme, O and minnow.
yeah, that's just the ending of the word.
Okay. I was thinking it was a word itself.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you found that. I was looking for Lego the whole time because you have legomenoi in the present middle passive, but it changes from Lego or using the leg stem to something completely different in other forms. So I'm looking on page 491 near the bottom right.
Okay.
You can see every other form is something different.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all different. Yep.
So the erythane is the aorist, which doesn't follow what we're doing at all. I said aorist, right? Aorist.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we try to plug that into an aorist active participle, I don't even know if that exists, but if it does, it might be something like
Epantes.
erythone or erythontes or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yeah, we chased that rabbit. I think I'm satisfied with it, unless you guys have questions on that.
No, that's fine. I'll look into it a little bit more too.
All right. Speaking of looking into something more, I want to show y'all something.
Okay.
So, share screen. Yeah, I guess I'll allow it. Okay, let me know if you can see what I'm working with. You may have to full size your screen.
Yeah, I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, I'm down here in my search tool. And you can, of course, find that by just hitting the magnifying glass at the top. That'll open you a search box. But anyway, you have some helping things down here to help you help your search kind of get more. You can get more out of it, right? So you can type G : to transliterate your Greek or Hebrew if you're using a default keyboard. I like to switch over to Greek and just type it out so I know how it looks, like L thing or whatever, Elthin, whatever. And you can play with your keyboard to see which letters are which there. But anyway, here's what I wanted to show you. This third one down. Are y'all able to see it, or should I like blow it up some?
I can see it.
We can see it.
Okay. So type @ to start a morphology term. Search. You can search for a certain lemma, of course, if you know it. But here's what I think is interesting. I can search. I can do @ and it gives me parts of speech, right? Well, I told you that Logos classifies participles as a verb. So when I click verb, boom, I have all these different options I can choose from. If I want to narrow my search down to, aorist, active, indicative verbs, I can do that. But what we're going to do, we're going to skip aorist. Actually, no, we're going to click aorist because that's what the chapter we're in, right? Aorist participles. We'll leave all these as wildcards. It'll give us search results for active, middle, passive. But we're going to click participle, and now we're going to hit enter. And I'm in the book of Romans right now, but let's just do the entire New Testament. So now we can, and of course you can narrow it down to different books as well. But there are 42. Hold on, that can't just be in the New American Standard. All right, so some 2,000 plus and 1,800 or so verses that use the aorist participle. And you can see how some of these are rendered. When we think participles, usually we think, well, ing, right? Yeah. So Mary had been betrothed to Joseph. Again, I'm using New American Standard. So a different version probably will render this a little bit differently, but he had considered, and I know you guys also talked about how there are some helping words sometimes used, like after or while.
Mm-hmm.
There were some other ones I think that were there, but so like while going or that sort of thing. But for the most part, these aorist participles, as far as I've seen here and just in this search, more or less just conveys something that happened, right? That perfective aspect thing. Awoke. It was spoken. Jesus was born.
Okay.
Let's see if we can find an ing. Okay, gathering together. All the chief priests and scribes of the people. You can see that that's not like something that's still ongoing.
Mm-hmm.
At least when you kind of get down to what it's actually saying. It's something that is in storytelling mode, but it's something that happened. Right?
Yes.
All right, let's do Romans because I was in there earlier and saw some interesting stuff. Who was born, right? He was declared the Son of God. Even though they knew God. And this is interesting. They serve the creature rather than the creator. The creator is a participle.
Yeah, but participles can serve as like the noun, can't they?
For more,
Like the good, bad, and like Dave was talking, the good, the bad, the ugly kind of thing.
They can function adverbially or adjectively.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. I think this is probably functioning more adjectively.
Okay.
Maybe. Okay, becoming weak. There's your ing.
Yeah.
Giving glory. But I wanted to show you guys this tool because, I mean, there are probably too many applications for us to cover in one sitting. But you can see the power of this search tool. I was thinking that, if let's say you wanted to do like a dissertation or even just a deep study for a lesson, Bible class or something, and you wanted to find like every instance of the word. Let's clear this out. I want to do.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I've got that tool pulled up. What did you type in to make it do? That
the at symbol, I think.
Yeah, at.
Okay, it's just that at.
Yeah.
So if I typed in like graphe, then I would do. I'm not saying that. Just I was thinking of a Greek word. If I type in like graphe, I put at beside it, and then it would do that, or do I put the at first?
Say again.
I'm wondering how you would type. How did you type that out to get that the double showing that you had down there?
Let me just see if I can do it again for you. Do verb at verb.
Oh, okay, so type in the at first.
Yeah.
Okay, it pulls up. So like verb. I'm just following what you're doing.
Okay. So click aorist participle, and then you can hit enter.
Okay.
And from
Now
there you can refine your search to different books or.
Yeah, it says add version. I got it now. Oh, this is really cool.
Yeah, and I have mine set up to show the Greek next to it. I don't know how you guys.
Yeah, mine has the NASB and the Greek right beside it.
Okay. Cool.
Now this just brings up all the aorist participles.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's say that you wanted to make it more. You want to just search for aorist active participles.
Okay.
You can do that.
You just keep on adding things to it. Like I could do middle or passive, and then.
Yeah.
Oh, this is such a cool tool.
And all these, I mean, you guys might have known this, but Matthew 1, all the became the Father and became the Father and the Father and the Father.
There's a bunch of them.
Yeah, a bunch. Apparently, there's a lot in Matthew, which is interesting. That might be a really interesting scholarly deep dive looking at the aorist active participles in Matthew.
Well, I mean, Matthew does bring up a lot of like the old prophecies and everything
Mm-hmm.
to connect it back to the Old Testament.
You know, one thing I thought that we might use this for is per chapter. So, like, I want to do aorist participles, and we're in aorist participles,
Mm-hmm.
and I was gonna see if we could find like give me a book, a New Testament book.
John.
The Word became human. Okay. I was gonna see if we could find like maybe a shorter verse with some more common language that might be sort of easy to translate, or at least part of a verse.
You want to do like James or something?
Let's see. I don't want a real long verse. Okay. How about this one? That's not too bad. James 2:7.
James 2:7.
Yeah. So, if you guys are still looking at the screen, you have a translation here to lean on, but let's try to break this down and piece by piece and um, do our own translation.
Well, Altoy.
Mm-hmm.
Ook is not, right?
Yeah, Ook's not.
Yeah.
Or
Altoy
gives
is-
like a connotation of not. Altoy is they.
Okay. Blasphemusin.
So blasphemy.
Mm-hmm.
Blasphemusin. The usin ending.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I
So-
see it's just translated as blaspheme. Yeah, so I guess it's
I don't know what Kalan is, but Anoma is name.
right. I don't know Kalan either. Call. It sounds familiar.
I'm trying not to. I've got it zoomed in to where I can't see the other verse.
Ta. Or ta. Ta is an article.
Yeah.
Yay, I got that right.
So
Mhm.
the
Epic Clayton.
Umas is you, or Humas. I can't
What do
really see that.
What do you see in epiclethin?
The theta.
Do you see a stem?
The is epi.
I
Is
think
that
the
part of the word, or is that an
Epi
noun?
is, well, it's a compound word, and that's a preposition added onto the
Oh, okay.
stem.
And then Clayton.
Okay.
Clayton.
Clayton. I know that word. Not Clayton, but
Clay. I don't remember that one.
Andres, you want to give him
can I use my lexicon?
give him a help? Just maybe one or two insights.
Hello. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit out of the time, like Paul. Yeah. You're in James 2:7, right?
Yeah.
I think I found that word for epiclathen in the lexicon,
Mm-hmm.
which is. I'm sorry, Andreas. I don't mean to interrupt you.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So it's either klesis or kletos, which is call or called. So kletos or klesis. So it's after called. Well, it wouldn't but after. But it is a participle, so it would be like called.
Yeah, yeah. You're thinking of like the helping word, right?
Yeah, the after on it.
You are with epicalthane, right?
Yes, sir.
epiclathen.
Yeah. Oh yeah, epiclethan, epiclethan, or epicletan.
So I'm thinking
Anyway,
that's called.
yeah. In fact, I think that's a compound word that comes from the preposition epi plus the word kaleo, the one that is used on ecclesia. Do you remember uh, ecclesia? It's from ek
Sure.
and kaleo. Uh, it's a compound word as well. And kaleo is related with the idea of calling or call. So since this is an aorist participle passive, I think having been called would be a good translation for it.
Okay, so having been called.
Yeah, except for that doesn't really ring out quite right in our English minds. If we've said, "Do they not blaspheme the fair name by which you having been called?"
Uh,
But yeah, I mean, you're right. That's kind of how we understand participles to work, is the having been called. You're not wrong to say that.
I'm not wrong, but I'm wrong.
Yeah, you're not wrong, but don't ever say that.
Well,
Yeah, the ang and having doesn't make any sense in your English, right? Is that correct?
say it again.
The ang ending and having doesn't sound natural in English for you.
Having,
Having been called.
yeah, I mean that phrase in and of itself sounds fine, but not necessarily in this context.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
What is I'm trying to remember kalan.
So look it up.
I am. I'm actually writing down what we've like not translating it, just writing down like the words for it and then
Yeah.
going.
Good. Jake, did you ever remember what the usine ending was doing?
Always say omenete usin. That's third person plural.
Yeah, there you go. So do not they blaspheme?
Yeah.
And autoi sometimes because the third person plural is embedded in the verb there. Sometimes, not necessarily always the case, but
So
sometimes that autos being there can almost make it more what's the word emphatic, kind of more like, do not they even they blaspheme.
Gotcha. Certainly adds verification that you're right, but yeah, I could see that being the case too. Certainly, if you're reading it, it's like, okay, autois for they, and then you have they, blaspheme.
So kalan is from the word kalos, which is beautiful or good.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, I have not they blasphemy, the beautiful or good name, and then I put name down twice. Hold on. I'm sorry.
You for you must.
To ta. So the
You
having
call.
called you.
So
What's this F thing there after the epicalathan?
yeah, I was wondering if y'all were going to ask. It is also from epi, but do you know what an aspirant is?
I remember going
Means
over.
that something's taken away.
No, not exactly. It means that there's more of a breathiness to
Oh, okay.
to the letter, I guess. But that's what happens when with the P sound. It goes from p to f as an aspirant, and then because it comes up against vowel and humas, um,
It gets rid of the
it
other
gets
vowel.
the iota at the end. So it's
Okay.
humas.
Hmm.
But do you remember what epi means?
I don't. I should, but I don't.
Goto.
It means what?
Goto.
Yes. Upon.
Upon.
Upon. Yeah.
Epi on or upon.
Okay. So upon you.
Or
Let's
upon
see.
called, or upon you called.
The name.
You called upon.
Let's see. So what do we have, Sam?
So I have. This is how I have it written out. Not as set up yet.
Okay.
So not they blasphemy. The beautiful.
Blaspheme.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, it was verb. Yeah, verb form, not.
Oh, I'm sorry. Blaspheme.
Yeah, no
I
problem.
wrote it down as blasphemy. I meant blaspheme.
Perfect.
Blaspheme the beautiful or good name, the having been called upon you. And I know we talked about the having been called might not set up perfectly with, how this sentence is flowing anyways. So
we got it all essentially. It's just a matter of
have been called.
Yeah.
So
It's
instead of
beautiful
having
for
been,
fun.
Yeah, beautiful or good. And
Okay.
You can
Yeah, I
see,
was thinking good.
you can see where the New American Standard is going with their translation.
and
there.
then, well, it's a question at the end. So this is that helps us set up how it goes, because the semicolon at the end, that's a question mark.
So remember that the ancient Greek manuscripts didn't have that. They had, they had like the majuscules where everything is all kind of running together, and they don't have punctuation marks.
Yeah.
So that's kind of an editor addition.
Oh, okay. Well,
But it's probably
I'm gonna use this edition.
It's founded on something. It's not just baseless guessing. It's
Yeah.
So not they blaspheme the good name.
I feel like
You
since
have been
By the
we're
way,
in-
just to make it a little bit more complicated,
Go ahead.
That's what we need.
But
It's already it's green. It's already
Blasphemousin, blasphemousin, it's a verb in the present, active indicative. So if you remember present active indicative, it's kind of ing ending in English, right? Like blaspheming, right?
It can, yeah. It doesn't necessarily have to, but yeah, he's right. Sometimes the present active indicative is translated like a participle with the ing ending.
So it could be like they are blaspheming as
Yeah.
well.
Are they not
Can-
blaspheming?
Huh?
Are they not blaspheming?
Yeah.
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 I feel like we're missing some words. So-
Well, I was gonna say with like this question, I feel like there's that side of it that Damien always talks about, like the art and the science of it. There's
Yeah.
got to be some helpful words because we can't just start off with not. It's
Let's,
a
I want to try something real quick. I'm going to look at the
Blaspheme,
Young's
not the
James 2:7, right? Let's see what the Young's literal translation does. Just out of curiosity. Do I have it?
Well, it could be aren't they blaspheming?
I thought I had it.
yeah. So aren't they blaspheming the beautiful name?
I don't have it. Oh, I did.
Wait just a second. Mouse is you. So.
Let's just see what some of these other ones call translated. New King James, do they not blaspheme that noble name by which you were called, by which you are called? King James does the same thing. New International, are they not the ones who are blaspheming the noble name of him to whom you belong?
Oh, there you go. There is our translation, Samuel.
I was writing down
Are they
mine.
not? Are they not? Aren't they?
Yeah, are they not the ones who are blaspheming?
Mhm.
Yeah, ing, but it's present and not. And that's kind of some of the difficulty with English and or the limitations and boundaries of English.
I've got something.
Okay,
Well, yeah, go ahead.
let's hear it.
Hold on, just a I'm writing it out to where I can actually read it. So this is what I have. Aren't they not blaspheming the beautiful name you have been called upon?
I like that one.
I think that you have been called upon is more like the name that's been called upon you.
Okay.
Mhm.
Like Christianity,
The name upon which you've been called.
which would
Yeah,
be like,
because it is the U is accusative.
okay, so the upon needs to go with the you.
Yeah, upon you.
So it would be, aren't they not blaspheming the beautiful name upon you have been called? But upon, it's hard to put that word in there to make like good sense. So is it more like, I know ook is not, but just isn't ook like showing more of a negative connotation to what's going on?
It could.
Not a
So-
negative connotation. I think
so-
when you use the word connotation, it's for like, I don't know, like how we perceive the word in terms of like morality. Like if I said the word grotesque, that has a very negative connotation.
So would we say it shows a negative side to the sentence though of what they're saying though?
It's a negative particle, which
Negative
means
particle.
that there's a negation of a statement.
Yeah.
So instead of saying I run, it would be like ook run. Like I don't run. So
Yeah.
it's just not kind of negating it.
So the reason why I say that is do we have to have the word upon there because it's put with a U, so it's more of like a, to the Greek it's saying it's upon you, but to us we can just say you, because, and we know, hey, it's just you, the name you've been called by,
Yeah.
or the name you've been called.
So the thing about prepositions is that a lot of times they're really flexible in their meaning. So here's what my chart says, and the accusative, which is what it's in, it's with the humas, so which is accusative. Says in the accusative, it's on, upon, to, up to, against, or for, and with an ellipsis, meaning there's probably more applications that you can draw with that. But all that to say, it's flexible. Let's see what it's literally, which has been called upon you.
Okay.
That's what the New American Standard says in the footnote.
Yeah, because you is at the end of it. So, okay.
But in the art of translation, you want to make it sound smooth and convey the message.
Yeah.
Convey what's being said. And you can do that by sometimes flipping the words around, and sometimes
That's the real trouble I have, though, is like,
Can the article mean something different?
Oh, go ahead, Jake. I'm sorry.
No, I totally cut you off. You got it.
No, it always makes me not worried in the sense of like this, but I want to make sure that I'm conveying exactly what God is saying and not just changing it to, my own kind of thing.
Right. But I mean, I think you can see in a sentence like this how, like, what, you look at some of these translations and you're like, yeah, like they're doing a fair job with that translation. It's not reading quite so literal from how the Greek is structured, but it never does.
Yeah.
I mean, generally it does not, because oftentimes the literal, like English doesn't even have a literal translation for everything Greek has. So to say that we have to do it that way is kind of narrow-minded. We have to be willing to understand that Greek sometimes has phrases and words that carry over better in an idea, a concept, rather than a literal word for word.
Yeah, because if we did it just literal, it'd be not they blaspheming the beautiful name, the having been called upon you. It's
right.
Like no one can understand that.
Yeah, that's unreadable.
Or something.
That's unreadable in English.
Yeah,
Most
exactly.
people.
King Samuel translation.
Yeah, it's a rough translation. What were you gonna say, Jake? I'm sorry.
I don't know if articles always have to be the, or if it can include an extra word in there for us.
No, they don't always have to be the. Sometimes they're used with like proper names, I don't know, the Jesus, something like that.
Well, like Ton Theon, the God.
Yeah,
but in the word, you might not put the God. You might just put God.
Right. Yeah. Articles, that's why I think it's better to call them articles in the Greek instead of definite articles. In Hebrew, there is a definite article. It's ha, it's the. But in Greek, it's just an article. Sometimes in the way we translate, it won't come across as the. It'll just simply be more of a marker of a specification, I guess, if you will. It's letting the Greek reader know that this is specifying something here. Well, do you guys think?
It's
I
it's good. I just wish I was better at just the like not the translating side of it, I guess, but like the art side of it of making a sentence flow better. That's
Well,
where I really struggle is like how to properly put a sentence.
I mean, you're still just getting started with that, really.
Yeah.
You know, but I
Like
think you did a good job. I think you did a good job with that verse, James 2:7.
Like our midterm had a whole entire passage that we translated, and there was there was a word that when you it's like through this it's John, what was it, John 9, but it was like the Greek word for it is like through this the parents, and I didn't know the best way of doing that, so it's always one of those kind of things of like, man, it's finding that art side of it.
Let's see if I can find it now.
It's where they're talking to the blind, the man who Jesus healed from being blind. I think
it's
it's John.
John 9:18 through 25.
And I can read what I put down, and I might have just messed it up. Dave corrected it. I need to go back and really look at what he said on it.
John 9:23.
Yeah, hold on just a second. Let me pull up this is what I wrote down. For verse 23, I put, through this the parents of him said that he is of age, ask him. And that could have just been me messing up the translation.
I literally put a question mark on that phrase because I didn't know what to make of that phrase.
So that's where something like this comes in handy. This chart. I don't know if I sent you guys this before.
I have that at my house.
So you have dia with genitive is through, but in accusative it's because of, and tuta, this is accusative. So because of this, his parents said he is of age. Ask him.
So okay. So utas, or is that I can't see if it's rough breathing. Is it rough breathing? Hutas?
It is, but
okay.
It's tuta form.
So because it's accusative, it turns the dia to accusative with the sentence. Okay. Okay. That's where that makes more sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, my translation with it, of course, there's things that I mess up on like that. But like there's a lot of therefores in here. According to my translation, like verse 20, therefore, verse 24, therefore, verse 25, therefore, that kind of stuff of it. And it's just, trying to make it flow better without sounding,
Therefore.
Yeah.
Therefore. I think I put then on most of those. Then blah blah blah. Then blah blah blah. Then it felt better to me.
What was the word?
I think it was
it's therefore.
Yeah.
But it's own or
Yeah, own. With the circumflex.
I don't.
It's a logical inferential.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I was coming from. It's like, man, I'm not good at the translating part of it.
So when I first started, I literally looked at the words that I knew, like Kai, and I went and I found all of them. I know Kai can mean 1,000 things, dude. Like Kai. And I went and I found all of them. I know Kai can mean 1,000 things, dude. Like,
hey Jake, I know you like talking, but you don't have to like. You don't have to mimic it.
Hey Dave.
Hey.
How's it going?
I'm all right. How y'all?
Good. Thanks for joining.
Yeah. I figured y'all were almost done. I was just on YouTube watching for the last few minutes. Said, oh, that's pretty cool. I like that. And I noticed that on John 9:18 through 25, verse 23, dia is I forgot what I was going to say now. I don't remember.
Accusative.
I think what I wrote for Samuel was that there's a wide range of meanings for this, and through really doesn't fit the context.
Yeah.
More aptly, it's for this reason the parents said to him he's of age. Said he's of age. In other words, or
Well, this comes from hutas, which is in the accusative form, not the genitive.
Yeah.
And you remember the dia and genitive is through or by, but
Yeah, because the New American Standard has it as for this reason.
Right.
Yeah, for this reason, but basically it's a purpose kind of thing, and I just wanted to, because I wrote that note, and you were commenting about it, but you didn't say
I see it.
It hurt my feelings.
No, I said I hadn't looked too much at it.
It's really more like because of this, which maybe.
Right.
Yeah, because it's the reasoning why they said it.
And that's
It's
similar to
shown
what
in
Jake was
verse
talking
20.
about. He wrote then. In English, then is more sequential kind of ongoing, sequential, then this, then that, more time-based. Whereas, what was the other option I said, Jake? Therefore? I don't remember.
Because of.
Yeah.
Yeah, is more results-based or conclusion-based. And so there's this consequence-based kind of thing. And I want to look something up. I'm sorry. I know you. I shouldn't interrupt, but I just thought I'd go in for a minute and listen. And I thought they were done. And so, they're still on. How about that?
Yeah.
So
and the accusative dia is on account of, right? So, for this reason, on the account of this, the parents said that he is of age. Said to him, that he is of age.
And I guess that comes in with my understanding of the translation, because that goes right in with what verse 22 says. What, if they proclaim him the Christ or confess him the Christ, they're going to be put out in the synagogue. So for this reason, that's why they said he is of age, ask him.
Yeah, or on account of this, or because of this, right? Exactly.
Yeah,
that'd be the best solution. But yeah, but when you use through, it doesn't fit the context, and through is more associated with Damien, what's the other not accusative, but
Genitive.
is it genitive? Yeah, through is the genitive function. So
I was expecting you to say, because when you use through, it's completely wrong. That's why you don't use.
well, I marked it wrong. So yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I only took 1 point off. I mean, come on.
No, I have no problem with it. It's just that I was telling Damien, this is the side that I really struggle with, is like trying to make it flow properly into English.
Damien said that you just started and he's right. It's both a science and an art. The grammar science, right? It's rule structured. It's a rule-based function. But there's an art in terms of how you express the intent. Anyway, I shouldn't have interrupted. I apologize.
No, you're fine.
Oh, that helps.
I was getting ready to leave the house, and I had to come upstairs to do something real quick. And I said, I wonder if they're still doing the class. And so I just go to YouTube and watch, because when we go live, even though it's unlisted, because I have the link, I can just go. Actually, I go and set it, because you have to go manually set it for the playlist. And otherwise, it's just, random. And so I go and set it for the playlist. And I said, let me watch for a minute. Oh, they're still on. How about that? Anyway, sorry about that. I'll get out of your way.
Thank you for joining.
Dia tutu, Dave came into class.
Yeah, for this reason.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to stick around for the prayer, Dave?
Yeah.
All right. We're going to go in this.